A dangerous Bitcoin pattern is repeating itself. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about how a dangerous Bitcoin pattern from 2022 seems to be repeating itself. The last time that we saw this pattern take place, Bitcoin started by dropping about $30,000, and then after that, we ended up dropping about $40,000. Today, we're going to be talking about how a very similar bear flag that played out in 2022 is playing out right now, and we'll talk about where it may lead Bitcoin next. If you're interested in seeing where Bitcoin's going to go and how to make the most money in this movement, then you found the right place. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Today's video is brought to you by NordVPN. There is one very specific reason why you ought to sign up for NordVPN, and that is because NordVPN is the leading virtual private network provider in the world that keeps you safe, secure, and invisible while you browse online. When you go to nordvpn.com/Jeb and sign up for a 2-year plan, you will be getting access to incredible high-quality security architecture that will keep you invisible by shrouding your IP address and rerouting your internet activity through NordVPN servers, so that data brokers, hackers, thieves, governments, banks, and anybody else trying to use your information for their own greedy gain can't see you and figure out anything about you. Sign up for NordVPN today with the link in the description box down below and protect yourself while you browse online. Say it with me. Markets are cyclical. Correct. They are. You see, the way that we do analysis on markets is by looking into the past, and we look for patterns that have repeated themselves over and over again. And one of the patterns that we can see when we look into the past in markets is that the pattern of the bearish flag is a very important one. A bear flag occurs when an asset trades sideways after coming down from a major corrective movement, and it essentially means that you are halfway through the corrective movement. It means that however much you move to the downside moving into the flag is how much you will then move down following the flag has broken out. As can be seen here, for example, in 2022, we saw Bitcoin go into this major bull flag that many of us thought was the recovery of the bull market, but instead it actually ended up being a bear flag with a major bearish movement following. As you can see, we actually moved even farther on the way out of the bear flag than we did on the way into the bear flag. Now, the reason that this is significant is because we teach in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy that about 70% of the time, you will see the market move in the same direction that it went into the bull flag or the bear flag, out of the bull flag or the bear flag. And that means that we are likely to see a bearish breakout whenever we see a bear flag form. And that is exactly what we are seeing form right now. With our two uptrending levels, our support level and our resistance level, we can see that Bitcoin is currently forming a bear flag. And if we do the extrapolation on this bear flag, the same way that we did back in 2022, we see that we have a price target down here around $55,000. Bitcoin has expressed quite a lot of bearishness over the last few weeks as a result of the halving event. Many people were very freaked out when the halving was on its way because they didn't know how Bitcoin was going to respond. Bitcoin went into a short-term rally, but that short-term rally has actually ended up painting a head and shoulders pattern that could signify that we'd break bearish out of the bear flag, indicating a bearish breakout and a price target again at $55,000. Now, this actually also mirrors a bear flag that is appearing on the United States stock market over in the S&P 500, where we have bearish activity pushing us to the downside on the S&P. We then have a bear flag playing out, and if everything plays out the way that it oftentimes will, we may end up seeing a corrective movement here on the S&P 500, potentially down to our 2021 bull market all-time high at 480 points. If Bitcoin and the stock market break out bearish here together, then we very well may see a drop down to 480 on the S&P and down to $55,000 on Bitcoin. That being said, this also could just be a bottoming formation. It is very possible that Bitcoin at this point in time is simply putting a bottom in, and this is our recovery. I don't quite buy it just yet, but it is definitely possible. There is a great degree of neutrality in the cryptocurrency space. For example, here on the CoinMarketCap Fear and Greed Index, you can see that over the last couple of months, the fear and greed has dropped from about 92 all the way down to, at one point, below 60, even nearing 50, indicating that the market sentiment in the cryptocurrency space has cooled off. People are not thinking, oh my gosh, $100,000 will happen any day now. Now people are thinking, all right, we're still in a bull market, but I don't know exactly how this is going to play out. It seems like it's going to take some time for Bitcoin to be able to break above all-time high. That lack of confidence will show itself in the market. So until we've seen more confidence return from the bulls, it leads us into this holding pattern where our sentiment should remain largely the same as the market sentiment. Sideways. Bitcoin is trading sideways right now, and we ought to think the same way. But what does thinking sideways mean? Well, you see, when the market is in an uptrend, there are certain ways that we ought to think, and there are certain things we ought to do. When the market is trading sideways, there are certain things we ought to think, and certain things we ought to do. And likewise, when the market is going into a corrective movement, there are things that we ought to think, And they are things that we ought to do. When the market is trading sideways, what we want to do is ensure that we are working on our process. You see, the way that you become successful in anything is by choosing a good process and then doing it over and over again for a long time, right? Think of something in your life that you're successful at. Maybe you've got a six-pack. Maybe you've got $1 million in the bank. Maybe you have a great relationship or a great relationship with your kids. How did you get that? Probably by following a process that worked and doing it consistently over time. One of the best times to work on that process is in downtime. When the market is moonshotting, you kind of have to have your attention on that market as it moonshots. When the market is crashing, you kind of need to have your attention on that crash so that you can make sure that you are being wise with your investments. When the market is moving sideways is the perfect time to work on process. When things are exciting, but not so exciting that it takes all of your attention, and when there's a possibility of bearishness, but not such a possibility of bearishness that you have to devote all of your cryptocurrency allotted time and attention span to that crash. You can actually focus on process. So what process should we be using? The way that you become successful in cryptocurrency is by dollar cost averaging first and foremost into Bitcoin, second and second most into Ethereum, and then into everything else. In that order. You might think, like many do, Jeb, you're leaving so many gains on the table, or Jeb, you're risk averse. Guys, I have been risky with more money than most people that are watching this video have ever seen in their lives. I've been stupid with more money than most people that have watched this video have ever seen in their entire lives. I have played the game where you are massively too risky, either because you don't have good process, or because you're not consistent, or because you are being foolish and sticking your neck out there for something that's unproven. At the end of the day, what I have learned and what I am trying to master and teach you to master is that by doing something that works in a consistent manner for a very long time, you will end up gaining and earning success. I'm not interested in you getting rich quickly because you'll lose it just as fast. Riches and wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished, the Word of God says. But when we build them the right way, the wise way, the consistent way, the persistent way, the progress-oriented way, not the perfection-oriented way, but we build them over time, that's when success happens. So, in this period of sideways trading, should Bitcoin crash? There's a great opportunity to buy more. Should Bitcoin continue to trade sideways for another month, there is a great opportunity for us to begin dollar cost averaging, to decide on what exchange we're going to be using, and make sure our KYC is filled out so that we can purchase, making sure that our bank connections are set up, making sure that we're working on getting out of debt, making sure we're working on a budget, making sure that we are putting aside money every single week in our cryptocurrency wealth generation into a cash account so that we can buy the dip if a dip should come. Researching more altcoins. If we're only investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, we've got room to invest in a few more. Maybe we're investing in 80 coins, and that's way too many. You can't manage them. You've got to sell off some of those. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of weeding and gardening that you've got to do on your portfolio, and the best time to do it is when the market is trading sideways. So take this day, just like every day is, as a blessing. Use it as an opportunity to grow yourself in whichever way is most appropriate at that point in time. Can Bitcoin drop down to $55,000 from here? Yes. Is that a bad thing? No. Would it be a great place to buy? Probably. Do we need to just sit around on our hands while Bitcoin's trading sideways? Nada. We need to be working on improving everything that we can by following the principles of financial sovereignty. And if you'd like to learn more about that, then you found the right place. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more content. Also, make sure to sign up for NordVPN and protect yourself as you browse online. That's going to do it for today. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.